Hi, this is Ralph Soluri outside the Copiague Central office. I'm going inside. We're going to talk to Dr. Bannon about the bond referendum. Come on inside. Dr. Bannon, I'd like to say thank you for sharing a little time with us. I got some questions to ask you. I know you're a busy lady, so I'm going to jump right into it. Why propose a bond referendum?
At this point, we're proposing a bond referendum because our youngest building is 50 years old and the oldest is about 90 years old. Any building that age has infrastructure needs. Behind the walls, we have plumbing, heating, electrical issues that need to be taken care of. Just like you would have to take care of it in your house, you know that pipes burst, electrical sockets blow, things like that. Well, we have 5 buildings to take care of, and we have big needs. In addition, we are growing. We have an enrollment that grows every year, so we have space issues. We have students that are learning now in closets, converted closets. We convert them as nicely as we can, but they're still a closet. We have kids who have to learn on floors with carpeted floors because there's no rooms in the building to take the instruction that they need. We also, in our elementaries, most of our art and music classes are on a cart, that the art and music teacher have all their supplies and they walk around from classroom to classroom teaching, which is not an optimal way to teach art or music.
Well, why is a bond more fiscally efficient?
A bond is very fiscally efficient because the State Department of Education gives us 75% of every dollar we spend in a capital project through a bond, which means if we have a repair that has to take place that will cost $1,000, it will cost the district $250 and the state will pick up $750. It's like a 75% off sale. And being the shopper that I am, I have never walked past a sale rack that was 75% off. So we want to maximize the state aid that we can get, and by doing it through a bond, we would do that.
Last year the bond was voted down. What's different this time?
What's different this time is that we have put the bond proposal together in 2 separate propositions. And I'll be happy to explain what the propositions are, but I also want to explain that we now have alternate funding sources. There's 2 funding sources that weren't available to us last year at this time. There's an energy performance contract, which is funded exclusively through the savings that we're going to make. If we change our lighting to LED lighting, everybody knows that there's a savings there on your electric bill. So we would use that EPC contract to fund improvements that are more energy efficient that were in the first bond are now in this energy performance, and there is no cost to the taxpayer for that. Also, subsequent to the last vote, the New York State Education Department came out with the Smart Schools Bond Act, and that will allow us to offset some of our computer technology needs, and wiring that needs to be done that was in the prior bond is now part of this smart bond money. Again, it's an allocation from the state, no cost to the taxpayer. So those 2 funding sources allow us to offset about $7 million from the prior bond to this bond. So in addition to giving the voters choice, we have 2 alternate funding streams that we're going to maximize this time.
Now I see there's 2 propositions. Why is this?
2 propositions because now our voters have a choice. How we've determined what's in Proposition 1 and Proposition 2, we had a building conditions study done by architects and engineers. We have to do that every 5 years. What we looked at in Proposition 1 are the items that have an end of life between 0 and 5 years. So the electrical system at School X has an end of life anticipated 4 years. That's in Proposition 1. So every infrastructure piece in Proposition 1 likely will have an end of life within 5 years. In Proposition 2, we looked at that same building condition survey, and its end of life systems 6 to 10 years. So 10 years out, these are likely to have an issue with them. So we looked at those 2 propositions and categorized it that way. So the community now has a choice. Do we think we can afford to look at end of life 0 to 5 years and move forward with that proposition? Or do we think we can also include Proposition 2, which are the 6 to 10 year end of life items? In addition, Proposition 1 includes the solutions to our space issues. There's additions on Deauville East and West of classroom space that will allow us to move students from Susan E. Wiley and Great Neck Road, likely our incoming kindergartners, so we don't disrupt, instruction for our students who are already there, and move them to some of those classroom space there, which will free up space at Great Neck Road and Wiley for art and music to go back into classrooms, to have support spaces for our OT, PT, all of the support services that we do that are now in closets will have properly spaced areas within the schools that we would be able to do that in Great Neck Road and Wiley. So the addition at Deauville Gardens will benefit all of the elementary school students within the district, and that also is part of Proposition 1. So now our community members have a choice.
Okay, now the big question. What is this going to cost the taxpayers?
Okay, again, looking at the fact that we get 75% back on every dollar that would be funded through the state for a capital project. Proposition 1 has a full price tag of $42 million, but in large part that will be funded by the state. The cost to the taxpayers will be about $12 million. And how that translates into your monthly mortgage payment for the average homeowner is about $10 a month. So Proposition 1 would $42 million only. Proposition 2 is $15 million. It's a little bit smaller amount of money. Taxpayers would pay $4 million of that, and that's a little less than $4 a month. Altogether, Proposition 1 and 2 pass. That would be $58 million worth of work done in the district, which is a tremendous amount of work for a cost to the taxpayer of about $16 million. A little less than $15 a month would get us $58 million worth of work.
What happens if the bond is voted down?
If the bond is defeated, as the end of life comes to the systems that we know have an end of life from 0 to 5 years, we will have to repair them because school must go on. The facilities have to be appropriate for our kids. They have to come into safe and healthy places. We'll have to do that out of the general fund. And instead of getting that 75 cents on every dollar, that 75% off sale, we will have to fund it fully. So the full cost of whatever repair has to be made will come out of our budget. A budget which is very tight now, and we always want to maximize what we give to students out of that budget and how it impacts instruction. And we would have to make some of those repairs using general fund money, which would impact instruction for our kids.
Is there some place that my readers, my listeners, my viewers can get more information on this bond?
Two major places that you can learn more about the bond. One is our website, the Copiague Public School website. We have a link to our bond. We have a very good brief video, 5-minute video, gives an excellent overview of the whole project. And we've also sent a newsletter home to each house within the district that has a lot of information about what we're doing. In addition, you could reach out to any one of our schools. Our principals are very, very eager to talk to our community members about how specifically this bond will impact each school. So there's a few different places that you could go, and you certainly could reach out to me at central office. I'd be happy to have a conversation with anybody who'd like more information.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Bannon. It was a pleasure, and I hope my audience is informed.
Thank you so much. I'd just like to remind everybody that the bond vote is on Monday, November 23rd. It's at the Great Neck Road Elementary School from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., and we hope you all come out to vote.